Hey, Facebook live stream viewers, welcome to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. I'm so glad to have you here with me today because we've got a really important topic to talk about. We're going to talk about the high cost of a facade. And are you willing to pay that high cost any longer? Is it really worth it to you? We're also going to be joined by Cheri Blair of Cheri Blair Financial Services, who's going to be talking to us about Financial Literacy Month, which April is. So please stay tuned. We've got a lot of interesting stuff, especially information about women and finances, as well as the high cost of a facade. So in just a moment, we are going to be starting the show. As you know, you're backstage with me here at KCBQ. Our show's on AM 1170, The Answer, and 96.1 FM. So in just a moment, we're going to record this show, which will actually air Sunday night at 9 o'clock here in San Diego. And I think we're ready to start the show. Well, we're almost ready. Any second now we'll be ready.
Tired of the rut you're stuck in, but don't know what to do?
Change it up! Join life transitions therapist, speaker, and best-selling author Paula Shaw. She'll be exploring topics that make change and the challenge it presents smoother and more productive. She'll also be spotlighting change makers who are leading the charge to make the world a better place. If you're ready to live a more exciting life, at home, in the workplace, and around the world, it's time to step out of your comfort zone and change it up. Now, here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Oh, I'm so tickled to have you here with me today. We're talking about something very important. We're going to be talking about the high cost of a facade. So I really want to take a look today during this show at what is the image or what is the facade that you're invested in? And is the price you're paying too high? Also in our show today, Cheri Blair will be joining us. She is our sponsor, and she is a financial advisor who is all about educating women so that they can create amazing, beautiful financial futures. And as it turns out, April is Financial Literacy Month. So we're going to be talking about financial literacy and how important that is. So please stay with us for that segment of the show. But right now, I really want to discuss this idea of the high cost of a facade. As most of you know, I am Paula Shaw. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and a life transitions coach. And my work involves mostly dealing with people who are experiencing change. So whether that change is an unexpected upheaval or whether it's something that we actually sought out, change can be difficult. And change can be traumatic for us. So my work involves helping people to deal with change in a more positive, productive manner. Recently, I experienced the challenge of change myself when too much stress and busyness ended up with me paying a visit to the ER due to intense intestinal distress. I really thought something very, very wrong was going on. And I shared, I believe in last week's show, a lot of what happened with that intestinal distress I was going through. And as it turned out, I was able to go home that night and it wasn't anything serious, but it was a giant red illuminated stop sign that I could not ignore. I could not brave my way through the obligations I had the next day or on the weekend. I had to just stop. And in the course of that stopping, I did a lot of introspective work because I really, like all of us, when tough things happen, I was going, why? Why this? I was really looking forward to my plans on the weekend. And all of it ended up with me just home and in my bed, sleeping a lot, a good part of the time. So the follow-up to all of that was a visit to someone I mentioned last week, but I want to say a little bit more about. She was a gastroenterologist, and her name is Dr. Vijaya Pratha. When I went to see Dr. Pratha, I expected, the usual tests and lists of what I could eat and what I couldn't eat and all of that sort of thing. But what I got in return, or instead, I should say, what I got was a powerful life lesson. She talked to me that day about the very things I want to share with you today. You see, when you put your job or your title or your position ahead of your health and your happiness, you're heading for a fall. One way or another, you're heading for a fall, whether it's physical, emotional, whatever. But if you're so invested in being the room mother or the perfect wife or the vice president of your company or a radio show host or whatever it is you are, if you're more invested in that than you are in taking good care of yourself, giving yourself rest, exercise, good food, fun. If your whole life has become this supporting this image or this facade, the price may be way too high. So what happened to me with Dr. Pratha was, as I was laying on her examination table and she's pressing on my belly and really getting to some painful places, as I said, oh, ow, I kind of expected her to stop, but she didn't. She kept pressing that place where the pain was. And then I looked at her and she looked at me with the eyes of a sage or a guru, I have to tell you. And she said to me, don't run from the pain. Let it wash over you. Don't run from the pain. Let it wash over you. And I have to tell you, being a person whose work is all about helping people get out of pain, those words were like, what? What? But immediately tears started to well up as I felt the pain, not because it was so painful, but because I was getting in touch with the emotional pain that was underneath what I was feeling physically. For years, one of my taglines was, your issues show up in your tissues. And I really believe that to be true. No matter how well you eat or how much exercise you get and all of that, if the emotional issues aren't being dealt with, if you don't have balance in your life, because remember, we're holistic beings, everything affects everything else. If you don't have that balance, something's going to break. Something's going to break down sooner or later. The next thing she said to me, and this woman, by the way, had just met me, she said, you give so much to everyone else that there's nothing left for you. Your body is screaming at you to stop. I wonder how many of you out there have bodies that are screaming at you to stop. How many of you are giving so much to everyone else that you're not taking care of yourself? And you may be like me. I kind of thought, since I meditated every day and I did eat well and I exercised, I thought somehow I had a hall pass when it came to excess stress and busyness. But the truth is, I didn't. My mind thought I did, but my body went, not so fast. And so right then and there, my body presented me with this giant screaming stop sign, And I remember once I did this process in the past, long ago, with a woman named Lucia Capacchione, and it was writing with your non-dominant hand. And if you ask yourself questions and then write the answers with your non-dominant hand, you access a different part of your brain. And in doing that process, I was asking my body why I had this intense pain in my shoulders and in my neck. And I'll never forget the answer. The answer was, because you don't listen until I scream. And in that moment, I realized that pinching, awful feeling that I had was my body screaming, saying, too much, stop, give us a break. And so I felt like I really wanted to share this today because I don't think I'm the only one. I think that my visit to Dr. Pratha opened my eyes to a couple of really important things. And I think so many of us are almost conditioned to put ourselves last, to put ourselves on the back burner. I mean, we were taught in childhood, don't be selfish, think of others first, me second, that kind of thing. And so I think that sometimes we just take that way too far. And thanks to Dr. Pratha, 2 points that she made really became very, very evident to me. And one was that you have to process the pain the way you would have at the age it came in. So, for example, if you were abused when you were 5 years old, you probably wouldn't have journaled or done breath work or yoga practice or any of that. You just would have cried. And I think sometimes we as adults underestimate the value of a good cry. A cry where you're focused on what it is that's hurting you. When she told me, don't run from the pain, let it wash over you, what a concept that is, because to just sit in the pain and consciously feel the pain is really foreign. Because every cell in your body wants to move away from pain. And when we have emotional pain, everything in us wants to move away from that emotional pain. I did too. But in staying with it, I accessed what was under it, the emotion that was under it. And the tears flowed. And they really were healing. Another thing that what came to mind for me too when I was just talking about that, you may remember 2 shows ago, Brahman Kiri, spiritual teacher, was here sharing with us the work she's doing at Donovan State Prison. And one of the most important parts of her work is this inner child work she's doing with the prisoners. And yes, she said to me, these big so-called hardened criminals are doing inner child work, and they're shedding their tears, and they're transforming their lives. So even though in my work so often I'm using the wonderful tools of energy psychology and neuroscience and mind-body processes, I'm going to be more conscientious in the future about making sure that I build time into that session for the release of tears, of whatever emotion my client is feeling, that we don't just jump right to the process, because that might bypass the most important part. And the other point that Dr. Pratha made to me that I think was critical was, she said, God loves you just the way you are. And I think that's pretty huge, because what are we killing ourselves over? What are we working so hard to create that image or that facade for? Because maybe on some level we don't feel worthy without being that being. We don't feel good enough. We all have aspects of that. But I tell you, if you're killing your body in order to keep the facade alive, what's it worth? What are you doing? So I want to encourage all of you to take a moment today, and examine the image or the facade you're invested in, and take a really good, hard, honest look at what it's costing you. Because if it's not in alignment with your authentic self, or if you're not taking care of yourself because you have so much to do to keep that facade alive, maybe you too will reach the point I reached of realizing that the cost of that facade is way too high. And if that's what you discover, step out of it. It's never too late to make a change in your life. We certainly know that here at Change It Up Radio. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with emails from our listeners. Be right back.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Now, more than ever, it's important for women to understand why they need a financial strategy. Women tend to make less money than men, live longer, and face more financial challenges during retirement. Hi, I'm Cheri Blair. With evolving roles and increasing responsibilities, women are seeking out ways to become more knowledgeable about their finances. My life's work has been to empower women to make good financial decisions today to help ensure you have a bright future tomorrow. I'm here to help you learn more and to become more. Give me a call for your free no-obligation consultation or a second opinion at 619-997-0416. 619-997-0416. That's 619-997-0416.
Cheri Blair is registered with and securities are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. California license number 0B42369.
Hi, I'm Kelly Klein of OneTrust Home Loans, Loan Coach Kelly. A while back, my business was in a slump, and it triggered a lot of self-doubt and fear, and it even had me questioning if I'd made the right career choice. So I booked a session with Paula Shaw. And after hearing my predicament, she explained that when we get into negative, self-sabotaging thinking and we're being run over by our limiting beliefs, it's almost impossible to create positive outcomes. She helped me clear those destructive thoughts and beliefs using her cutting-edge energy psychology techniques. Not only did I feel a whole lot better after the session, but within 2 weeks, I had 7 loans in my pipeline. I was so glad that I went to see Paula Shaw. And you should too. It really changed my perspective on life, business, and now my business is going great. You can reach her at 626-864-0756. That's 626-864-0756. 626-864-0756. Or check her out at paulashaw.com. That's paulashaw.com.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. So happy to have you here with us today. We have a great show coming up. Cheri Blair is going to be speaking with us about financial literacy because April is Financial Literacy Month. And as you know, Cheri's our sponsor who's all about helping women create beautiful financial futures. So don't miss some of the great tips that Cheri will be sharing with us in just a little bit. In the meantime, as most of you know, I am the author of 3 books. One of them is called Chakras, the Magnificent 7. The other is this book, Grief, When Will This Pain Ever End? And also my latest book, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say. And we have sometimes questions that come from our listeners that involve points or concepts that I have taught in these books. And sometimes people just have questions about stuff going on in their lives. So right now, my sound engineer, Todd James, who I'm so happy to say is back with us again after a wonderful vacation, is going to help us by reading the emails. Hey, Todd, are you ready?
Yes, I am, Paula. We've got a couple emails today. The first one reads, Hi, Paula. I am really in a tough place. I feel like I have devoted my life to my children, and I thought my husband and I were doing a good job of parenting. However, I recently discovered that my daughter is using drugs. I'm pretty sure she's had sex, too, and she's only 15. God help me. I'm just sick and even feeling disgusted and distant from her. What do? I love my child, but she has hurt me, and I'm scared that somehow I failed her, and that's why she did this. Help. Signed, Jesse.
Oh, Jesse, boy, that my heart is with you, because that's a really, really tough situation on so many levels. So let's see if we can dissect it a little bit. First of all, I too went through something like this, only fortunately for me, it wasn't as serious as drugs, but my daughter, I remember early in her high school years, she was probably about the same age, I found a bottle of alcohol in her backpack. And the place where she said she had been the night before, she had not been. And I was just sick myself. My husband and I had divorced. I had all those feelings that, oh my God, the divorce, it's caused her all this pain and problems, and now she's drinking. I'm failing her as a mother. Those are very normal, natural feelings. And so don't get on your case. Don't feel badly, because right now you're like, no, how did she do this? Who is she? This isn't what I raised her to do. I get all those feelings. It's so normal and natural to feel that, because you tried your best to raise her with certain values, to raise her with certain beliefs that it's okay to do this, it's not okay to do that. But here's the bottom line, Jesse. She is your daughter, and all those values and all that love that you instilled in her has not gone away. What's happened is she's been influenced by the realities of the world, her friends, the group at school, the what she sees in the media, all these different things, what she sees in movies or reads in books. They all influence our children too. So unfortunately, it's not that pure influence that we had when they were toddlers. Other factors have come into the picture here. But what you really want to remember more than anything when you deal with this, because I'll tell you what happened in my own case. Many of the parents who found out their children were drinking or using alcohol in some way or drugs, they just got very heavily punitive and put them on restriction for months at a time. I decided I wanted to try something different because I love my daughter. And we had a great relationship, I thought, and I wanted to preserve that. Because remember, above everything, you must preserve the relationship. Because if your child is going through troubled times, or your child is having thoughts about, is this okay or is that okay, and there's a lot of confusion going on, you want to still be the person they can turn to. And if you become punitive and condemning, if you get into your feelings of disgust, or why on earth did this happen? How did she go wrong? If you go too heavily into all of that, you will lose the relationship. They won't open up anymore. They won't talk to you. And you're their adult source of guidance. Their friends are all their same age, and they're all as confused as your child is. So you don't want them to only be turning to their friends for help. You want to be there, to be their source. So I sat my daughter down. I told her the truth about what I found. And I expressed my feelings. I cried. I was heartbroken because she too had strayed from the way I'd raised her. She too had done something I didn't think she would do. But I came from love. And I said, where did I fail you? What happened? I love you so much, but obviously it's not enough. And we ended up having a great talk. We cried together. We held each other. And you know what? My daughter didn't touch alcohol again until her senior year. And she let me know what she was going to do when she did it. So my number one message in my response to you, Jesse, is preserve the relationship. Go back inside, feel that love you have from your daughter, and let that be your launching point. Let that be your foundation in whatever action you take. I hope that helps. Okay, Todd, do we have another?
Yes, we do. We have one more email, and this one reads, Dear Paula, in the last year I have lost my younger brother and my job. The grief sent me into a real tailspin, but it's been over 8 months now, and I can't seem to get it together. I have this kind of chronic numbness and a sense of hopelessness. My friends say I should be over this by now and that I have to move on and come back to life. Am I crazy because I don't feel like I can? That's signed Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie, my heart aches for you on that one. You know, one of the things that I talk about in this book, the new one that I wrote, Saying the Right Thing When You Don't Know What to Say, I actually give people a list of things that are not helpful to say, because those are the things that make a person like you feel like somehow you're defective, somehow you're doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. Your journey through grief is individual and unique, and no one else can tell you how you should do it. You know, depending on what your brother meant to you, depending on what this job meant to you. Remember, when you lose a job or you lose a person, you don't just lose on one level. You lose perhaps the circumstances of that job or life with that person. You use the hopes and dreams. You lose the hopes and dreams that were involved in that relationship or in that job. So we're suffering loss on many different levels. And there is no time clock. There is no absolute of the right and wrong way to do this or how much time it should take. So I want you to be gentle with yourself. I want you to really, truly tell yourself that you're doing the best you can, if you are, and I think you are. You're doing the best you can, and that whatever amount of time you as the adult, your inner child who lost her brother, her playmate, and your adolescent self, all of those parts of you need to grieve and mourn those losses. Perhaps the job was more on the adult level, but maybe there were people there you really loved and your child enjoyed hanging out with them and playing every day. Or maybe the title you had made you feel really cool and good about yourself, and your adolescent self loved that. That needs to be grieved. That needs to be mourned. And the loss of your brother, I mean, the memories, the history, all of those connections, the secrets you shared, the times when you both hung together because mom or dad didn't seem to be very understanding, the memories. Oh, gosh, mourning memories is huge. That's probably one of the biggest pieces of grief. You know, the hopes, the dreams, the memories sometimes are harder to get past than the actual loss itself or the loss of the circumstances of being with that person or being in that job. So, Stephanie, I just want to say to you, without hesitation, thank everybody for their well-meaning statements. Thank them for caring, but just know in your heart, and even say to them, I have to do this my own way, in my own time. This is my grief journey, and I've never been on one exactly like this before. And I don't know exactly how long it's going to take or how it's going to impact me. But I do know that I have to be gentle with myself, and I have to allow myself whatever I need as I walk through this process. Because if you don't, Stephanie, then that's when we get into complicated mourning. That's when we get into phobias and fears and behaviors that are crazy and out of the blue because we didn't give ourselves the time to do what we needed to do. So if you really want to be able to go forward with your life in a new and vital way, give yourself this time to grieve exactly the way you need to. All right, I hope that helps. And we will be back in just a moment with Cheri Blair and lots of tips about Financial Literacy Month. See you in a minute.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Sometimes life throws you a curve. It can be a health scare, divorce, loss of a job, or death of a loved one. And big changes can make you feel stressed out and anxious, depressed, or unable to sleep. Nothing feels comfortable or safe, and that's a tough place to be. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone to talk it over with? Someone who understands why you feel the way you do and knows how to help. Paula Shaw is a life transitions counselor, an expert therapist that can help you deal with unwanted destabilizing change or disruption in your life. Using a variety of mind-body techniques and psychology processes, she helps identify the key issues, eliminating self-sabotage and doubt to get you rapid results. Paula Shaw Counseling is open to all people, all ages, and all walks of life. Big life changes can be tough. Paula Shaw can help you get through it. Call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234. 858-480-9234.
When you're the victim of an accident or someone's negligence, insurance companies are not going to give you fair compensation for your injuries, damage to your property, and lost income. They actually try to minimize your claim. Don't sign anything until you talk with John Sahar and the Sahar Law Firm in Carlsbad. For over 29 years, John has done battle and has won millions of dollars in damages, medical bills, loss of earnings, and pain and suffering for his clients. John Sahar will stand toe-to-toe with the big insurance companies to make sure you get every dime the law demands, and you don't pay until John collects money on your behalf. From San Diego to LA, Santa Barbara to San Bernardino, for auto accidents, product liability, dog bites, any injury caused by another. If it brings pain and suffering, bring Sahar to the case. For a free case evaluation, call 760-683-2048. 760-683-2048. The Sahar Law Firm, fighting for you. 760-683-2048.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We're so happy to have you here with us because in this segment, we're going to be talking to one of our favorite people, Cheri Blair of Cheri Blair Financial Services. She is a sponsor and one of our most favorite people, and I'll tell you why. This woman has, first of all, she's the consummate professional. She is so smart about her area, and she has been doing this for over 25 years. That's me, who's 27 years. I forgot, I'm a little older than you. But she has been, for all of this time, absolutely passionate about educating women about finances and helping them to grow beautiful financial futures. And one of the things we're going to be talking about today is this crazy, wonderful event she has coming up that we are really excited about. So, Miss Cheri, hi, welcome.
Hi, Paula. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Good to have you in studio again.
I'm always so glad to be here with you.
Thank you, and me too with you.
Nah.
So, Cheri, it's Financial Literacy Month. Would you share with our listeners just what exactly is that, and why does it matter?
No, that's so cute. You just set me up there.
I hope so. It's my job.
There you go. So, okay, financial literacy. April is Financial Literacy Month.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it so important? And why do we have it? Because this is a time we just had our taxes done, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yesterday? Did that just feel like 5 minutes ago?
Oh my God, the post office was crazy. You know, I file online. Mm-hmm. So I just had to mail a letter yesterday, and you could not find a parking place. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I went in, I'm not kidding, the line was the length of the whole post office. And I said to somebody, what's happening? Is there something I don't know about? And everybody's looking at me like I'm nuts. It's tax day.
Right, yeah.
So yes, we have.
So absolutely. So April, has been chosen to be the Financial Literacy Month. And it's so important because do you know that 1/2 of the 37 million Americans living in poverty are women?
Ay. 37 million Americans are living in poverty, and half of them
Over the half of that, half of those are women. So why is it important? It's important for everyone, right? It's important for the young. It's important for, it doesn't matter what gender you are. It's important for, those of us as we, in midlife, I mean, after we get out of college and then in midlife and as our careers are growing and we're going on in our life, as well as when we're going into retirement, how does that all fit together? So states around the country are doing currently.
Really?
Yes. And so what that means is if you're in school, right, you haven't graduated from high school yet, so at some point, whether it be middle school or high school, some of the states are requiring the children to have a class on financial literacy before they graduate.
I think that is brilliant.
It is.
Brilliant because, like a lot of kids are not taught at home how to handle money, what investments do. That whole picture is not necessarily what everybody learns, especially when I was growing up. People actually believed that it was not polite to talk about money with other people. You know what I mean? It was polite society. Not that I grew up in society, but you know what I mean. It was not polite to talk money.
Absolutely. But we're at a different time now, Paula.
Thank God.
And we have to be, right?
Yes.
So
I have a question first, though, Cheri. How do we know the condition of financial literacy in the country? How is that measured?
Well, that's a very good point. There are different there's different tests and tools that they use.
Oh, okay. So there are testing instruments that have validated
yes,
what kind of shape
yes,
we're
yes. In fact,
I see.
One that I was going to be speaking about, and I can just jump into that,
sure,
is every few years, FINRA, you've heard me talk about FINRA. It's the financial and banking regulators, which in my industry is so critical and important. I mean, it's critical and important for all people, but, about the regulations and all the things that have to go through compliance that when I'm on the show and talk to you about, that's FINRA, okay? So they issue a 5-question test as part of its National Financial Capacity Study, okay? This measures people's consumers' knowledge about interest, compounding, about inflation, about diversification, and about bond prices. Only 37% of those that are taking the test pass or can answer all 5 questions.
Now, is this
5 questions?
Women or men and women?
Well, this is men and women.
Men and women.
But
only 37% know what those things are.
Can answer all 5 of those questions.
Wow.
So,
and as I recall last year when I took the test, I failed miserably. That's part of why you and I went on this mission of trying to educate, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. And this suggests that the basic economic and financial principles that underline the problem is so widespread about the lack of financial literacy. And that's why I am so driven and made it my life's work to really educate women.
So is this lack of education the same with young people, like our millennials or the people do they have better financial education than we other folks? Notice I didn't say older folks.
We other folks. That's a good point or a good question. I would say yes and no. Okay?
Okay.
Not enough has been done. Like you were saying that when you were growing up, you weren't even talking about it in the family.
Right.
When I was in my family, it wasn't really discussed either. I remember going off to college and never getting a checking account, but never writing a check. No, I mean, I know that may sound very basic, but no one ever sat down and said, well, this is how you do that.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
So just recently in the state of New Jersey, we're talking about young people and millennials, the governor, Sheila Oliver, just signed into a bill requiring the financial education starting in 6th grade. through 8th grade.
Oh, that's great.
And that at the school is the President Barack Obama's elementary school, literacy in Jersey City. And that goal is to improve financial literacy.
That is great. You know, I think as much financial training as I had in school, I can see it like it was yesterday. You had your little envelope, the little cardboard envelope, and you'd put your little money in there, and they would deposit it for you. And you had your little bank book.
Oh,
but nobody. And so obviously we figured, well, it must be important to do this because the school actually did it for you. You
that
took
was good.
Your little thing to class.
I certainly didn't have that.
But I don't remember anybody
going to
saying,
school.
this is going to compound and grow. You're going to make money on your money. Nobody said that to me because I would have tried to put more money in there if I had figured that out.
Yeah. So, which are all very good points, right? Mm-hmm. So, understanding the basic concepts about interest, about about inflation, about compounding. I mean, it can be done very simply.
Mm-hmm.
And so
it needs to be, right?
Right. And so in North Carolina, actually, they're looking at, the lawmakers are proposing new legislation in the classroom. And that would require high school students to actually complete a class of financial literacy before they can even graduate. Okay?
I love that.
Yeah.
That's important.
So that, it is important for all of us to work at and work towards making sure that those people that we love, that come, our children or family members or however you're connected to them, people in the community, that they're getting these concepts because we want to rise up. We want to raise up the consciousness and the mindfulness of finances. And so people can, the percentage of debt that children leave college with is like minimum. Oh, I say minimum is $22,000 per Investopedia, and that is low. I know. I have clients with adult children now that'll leave college that they have up to, what somebody would buy a house would cost a house is a house, and that is just so difficult. And then 40% of U.S. adults right now don't even have enough savings if they had a $400 emergency.
Wow, 40%?
40%, and that's from Investopedia as well. But we're aware of that. I mean, I know, of course, I am, but it's out it's being communicated, through the newspapers, the news. People are talking about it much more. Mm-hmm. So that's more common that people know about that. But it's really important that can show you this lack of literacy. I mean, yes. when kids...
You know what, Cheri, we've got to go to a break now. But I really want to pick up right here because this educating and the lack of education leading to
debt.
Yeah,
big debt when you start out. Yeah.
Illiteracy, not good.
Not good.
We will be right back with Cheri Blair and more of this really important information.
We'll be right back with more Change It Up with Paula Shaw on AM 1170, The Answer.
Jack Gutman survived World War II and then returned home to the hardest fight of his life with PTSD and alcoholism. Now at age 93, he's a businessman and comedian, sharing his message of recovery and hope in his new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, helping our heroes and anyone who has experienced PTSD find happiness again. Get Jack Gutman's new book, One Veteran's Journey to Heal the Wounds of War, at Amazon.com, or to order a signed copy, call 714-525-4954.
For those looking to improve their lives, there's nobody better to turn to than Paula Shaw. Paula helps people regain successful lives by identifying and eliminating self-sabotaging behavior using a multitude of mind-body techniques to identify and resolve their core issues. Working with a wide variety of healing modalities, she provides her clients with the most effective process for their specific needs. To book a session with Paula, call 858-480-9234. That's 858-480-9234.
Welcome back to Change It Up. Now here's your host, Paula Shaw.
Welcome back to Change It Up Radio with Paula Shaw. We are in studio right now with Cheri Blair of Cheri Blair Financial Services, and she has been sharing some really great information with us about the importance of financial literacy and some of the changes that are actually coming about, where classes now are being required. Kids are having to learn about financial literacy before they graduate from high school, and I think that is all good, Cheri.
Right.
Her major concern and her passion, as you can see if you are viewing as well as listening to her, is about educating women and working with women. And Cheri, I don't think we've discussed, why is it that women in particular don't seem to be as well informed about finances?
Paula, that's the ultimate question here. Typically, women were not taught about finances because women were in the homes working, right? Or getting educated, but then typically going back to the home and taking care of the family, where the male went out and slayed the dragons and brought the money home and, fed the family and took care of the family. So it was just one of those things that happened. And, but here we are today.
Yeah.
Right. So no more of that. That's gone. And, there's just a lot of women, the majority, even though things have changed and there's a lot of dynamic women, powerful women that do understand money, and issues, money issues and financial, they are very financial literate and they move through life, but the majority is much less. Mm-hmm. We've talked about that. Women make 80 cents to man's dollar, and so on and so forth, this gender gap. So typically, this is a story I've heard, and it's not unusual. So, a father admittedly said, I have a son, I have a daughter, and I would always teach my son about money. Mm. I would talk to my son about money. I would talk to him about, what he needs to do to, putting money away, having this account, bank account, so on and so forth, and why these things are important, yada, yada. But when it came to the daughter, no. It was just like, oh, you don't need to worry about this. You go off and you go to your gymnastics, or, you go off with your mother and you go shopping or play in the flower field.
Right.
Or something.
I can remember my grandfather saying to me, why do you want to go to college? He was from Austria, so, he was old country. Why do you want to go to college? You're just going to stay home and make babies. I was like, oh, well, that didn't end up happening. I did make babies, but that wasn't all I did. And yet, with that philosophy, you wouldn't be well prepared, like the man you're describing.
Right. And he admitted that. He said that to me, and his point was, because he became aware and was conscious of it, he was going to be mindful and the way that he was going to move forward with both his children. So, we're changing. Times have changed, and we need to step up.
So tell us, Cheri, what are you doing to implement some change right here in our town of San Diego?
Well, Paula, my philosophy is to help women see their money as a tool, right? And not as a goal.
Oh, I love that. See their money as a tool, not as a goal. So talk more about that.
So everyone has dreams, right? And setting goals is a way of how we can accomplish those dreams, correct? Mm-hmm. So I like to focus first on financial education with my clients, teaching them how they may take their money and it can work for them, and to identify options of how it can be employed, their money, okay? So, and I'm doing this at an event here in San Diego.
Yes, tell us about the event. I'm so excited about it.
So, yes, so it is in honor of Financial Literacy Month. and for women, of course, and it's fashion, fun, and finance.
Fashion, fun, and finance. Listen up, everybody. This sounds good.
Right.
And where and when is it happening, and what's it going to be?
Well, it's happening on the 27th, so very soon.
April 27th.
Which is a Saturday, from noon until 3.
Okay, noon to 3.
And it's at the San Diego Botanic Gardens.
Oh, that's the wonderful place we were last year. I love it there.
We
Beautiful gardens.
We love it there, too. So,
and this is all free, did you say, Cheri?
Yes, there's no obligation, and this is free to anyone who attends. That's correct.
Fabulous. And tell us what's going to happen.
So the financial education concepts I like to address and can help shape an economic-based financial plan for ladies, for women, right? So what does that mean? Okay, I aim to enhance the efficient use of assets to create retirement incomes for my clients and giving that information and knowledge. So by coming to this event, I wanted to share 3 key takeaways that people will get. So before I begin a financial planning process, I like to, like I said, educate my clients on core financial principles. So we'll be discussing some of those principles and why that's so important. And then we like to explore the key theme around seeing money as a tool, not as a goal.
Love that.
Yeah. And then the third is explaining the importance of creating income streams based on sound economic principles that you cannot outlive. So in other words, that will last you the rest of your life, and you don't have to worry about outliving your money.
Oh, that's beautiful. So these are sound, kind of safe, proven strategies for growing your money, right?
Right. And we'll talk, like I said, we're going to be talking about these core financial principles that guide you into your own plan, right? And everyone has something different. So
beautiful.
So, but we're going to have a lot of fun there too, Paula.
Oh, I've been, and I know. I want to tell everybody, you do not want to miss this event. This lady puts on a first-class event in a beautiful setting. Is Mike contributing again?
We have Chef Mike doing the food.
Mike does the most delicious food. And there's lovely drink to go with it. It's a beautiful event. And this year, rather than designing flowers, what's happening?
We're going to be having a fabulous fashion show.
Yes, we are. And yours truly is modeling.
That's right. Paula is modeling.
I'm going for my fitting tomorrow morning.
That's right. Yay! So glad to see that you're doing that, moving forward with that. Yeah, so we're going to have a fabulous fashion show, and there will be takeaways from the show that the designer and the company that's coming into, for the clothes that you'll be wearing. So everyone's going to get an opportunity to, if they're there, to get a nice discount if they go shop at their stores.
How cool.
Yes. And also there's giveaways. There's gift certificates for $100 that are being given away for a shopping spree at the store.
I'm loving
and
that.
Yeah, all sorts of fun things.
Shall we mention the store?
Sure.
The clothes are coming from Chico's, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Chico's.
They have beautiful things.
Chico's, and then there's some White House Black Market as well.
Oh,
yeah.
White House, black and white?
White House Black Market.
White House Black Market. Yeah. Cool.
So it'll be really fun.
Oh.
It'll be educational. Also, I have Elizabeth Hainsley coming. She's an estate planning attorney. She's a doll. Everyone's going to love her. But she's going to be talking about, we want to take a look at, the truth and the false about financial planning and about estate planning, busting some myths, so on and so forth. She's very good. Like I said, people are going to love her. She's a doll. So with myself and Elizabeth and the modeling show with all the ladies and the great food and drink, we'll have a wonderful time. Wonderful. And you're at the Botanic Gardens on a Saturday. And a beautiful weather in San Diego. Yeah.
And they can walk around the gardens, too, can't
That's
they?
Right.
Before or
That's right.
after the event.
That's right. That part of the entry is you get admissions to the gardens, which is complimentary and which is nice because the fees are going up every year.
Yes.
And they have to. They're to maintain the gardens. They're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
And the parking's incled, as I recall.
That's
too,
right. The parking's included. So
yeah,
it's
I'm telling you, when
lovely
Cheri
afternoon
puts on an event, you really want to be there. So, to my listeners, truly, so we're forgetting a really important piece, Cheri.
Right.
How do they register? Because they can't just show up.
No, they can't. You have to because space is limited. So you can reach me or go to my website, CheriBlairFinancialServices.com.
And by the way, Cheri is spelled Cheri, Blair, Blair, financialservices.com.
And then you can .com/events, and it'll take you right to the sign-up page.
Okay.
Or you can call my office at 858-935-7808. That's 858-935-7808.
Beautifully done, dear. Really, and you want to register right away because that's next Saturday.
Yeah, it's a week from the Saturday. Yes,
yeah.
and we're
a
already
week from the Saturday.
We're filling up. So we want to have. We'd love to see a full room because it just makes it so much fun for everyone.
Yes, and truly, I have been to 2 of Cheri's events, if not 3.
About 3, yeah.
And I'm telling you, every time, it's like one of the best days of the year for me. And I'm not kidding. Her chef husband makes amazing food, and the women who gather are great fun. The spirit and the energy, because it's all like Cheri, fun and ebullient, and yet we're going to go there and we're going to learn some important information so we can make our futures better. So join us, ladies. Join us for that day. You want a chance to meet Cheri firsthand. She's wonderful. I vouch for her 100%. She's a great human. And I just really want to thank all of you for being with us today, because we talked about some very important things. So think about what's going on in your life. How are your finances looking? Are you so busy with the facade that you're eating up the money you need for your retirement? Let's do some serious thinking about what we talked about today. And don't forget to just make it a great day and a great week. Thank you for being with us. Remember that we're on KCBQ, AM 1170, and FM 96.1, Sunday nights at 9 o'clock. And we're on every podcast platform, including iHeartRadio. So it's not hard to find us. And you can also go to changeitupradio.com, changeitupradio.com. And if you want to learn more about me and my work, you can find that information at paulashaw.com. And if you want to learn more about Cheri, go to Cheri Blair, financialservices.com. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next week. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Change It Up with life transitions expert, speaker, and best-selling author, Paula Shaw. Join the Change It Up movement with Paula.